Apple just came flying in out of left field with the people's elbow, dropping their giant buying power dong on the market, releasing a $600 MacBook that, honestly speaking, makes it hard for me to recommend almost literally anything else to a laptop shopper. And I want to get way out ahead of this one. If you're out there bitching about the Neo having a mobile processor in it, y'all spent the last 5 years complaining that Apple doesn't let you run macOS on the iPad. Make up your mind. This thing is incredible, and it's just one of the value-oriented options. I can't believe I'm saying this. We got the iPhone 17e. We got a replacement for the Pro Display XDR that is $2,000 cheaper and better in a lot of ways. And we got refreshed MacBook Pros, we got a refreshed MacBook Air, we even got this segue to our sponsor.
Squarespace. It's the all-in-one website building platform. It can help you create a custom site that stylistically matches your brand and functionally meets all of your needs. Get started today with our link down below.
The haters' take on the new $600 MacBook Neo is obviously gonna be, ew, an iPhone chip and a laptop? It's gonna be so underpowered. My take? Yeah, okay, it isn't gonna be an Adobe Premiere powerhouse, but Apple isn't selling it as one. Their marketing is focused instead on web browsing, messaging, and using the powerful NPU to apply AI effects to your photos. And you know what? For all of that stuff, this thing is going to be an absolute monstrously adequate machine. Now, there is the argument that 256 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of non-upgradable, even from the factory, unified memory basically means this thing is e-waste from the moment it rolls off the production line. But hear me out, you guys. Was it not already e-waste for those Starbucks novelists and Facebook Marketplace addicts that instead we're buying much more powerful machines before? Would it not be better if those folks used up less of our precious supply-constrained NAND and memory right now? Just saying. Besides, I actually don't really think Apple had a choice here. Due to the way that die is packaged with the DRAM on top, in order for them to reuse it, they were kind of stuck with 8 gigs of RAM. Also, to Apple's credit, their long-term software support means that as long as I'm stuck with 8 gigs of RAM, they are too. And with very few notable exceptions, like the first-gen iPad, the Apple Watch Series 0, whatever that was, Apple takes pretty darn good care of their customers, even on products whose active user base numbers in the dozens.
See, that's such a sweet experience.
They do such a good job of this that when I recently got phones for a couple of my kids for Christmas, Apple devices were 2 out of, I think, 6 options that both met my budget and software support requirements. And I haven't even talked about how great this device is. Apple is claiming 11 hours of mixed use and up to 16 hours of battery life, not to mention that it runs without a cooling fan. And because it uses their lower powered A-series silicon, it probably straight up doesn't even need a fan in order to maintain full performance. It also doesn't need a huge battery, which carries multiple benefits. The 36 watt-hour battery inside the MacBook Neo keeps it easily portable at a trim 1.23 kilos, and it only needs a 20-watt charger, which, thankfully, is included in the box. All of that means that you could pick up a reasonably priced battery bank, like this really cool one that promises like a modular interface on the top and the ability to replace the cells once they wear out, or maybe even support future cool battery chemistries. And you could more than double your Neo's time away from the wall just carrying a tiny thing like this. Now, you must be thinking at this point, what's the downside? Surely it's made of unapologetic plastic or something, right? Right? No! Somehow it's not. It's got an aluminum chassis, a liquid retina display with anti-glare that tops out at a very solid 500 nits. That's perfectly acceptable for an office or school environment, or even outdoors if you could stay out of direct sunlight. Apple also went to great lengths to make it clear that the keyboard is their familiar, beloved Magic Keyboard, and even the trackpad is, okay, it's smaller than other MacBooks, but it's still multi-touch and a very decent size. This thing even packs a 1080p webcam, spatial audio support on its dual speakers, and a second noise-canceling mic for video calls. Okay, but then we turn it on its side and yeah, the connectivity is a bit of a downer. Thankfully, we get a 3.5mm jack, but if you want to plug in a USB-A device or even an external display, you're gonna be resorting to a dongle. I'm getting flashbacks to the 12-inch MacBook from 2015. However, it is worth noting that, sorry to break this to you, 2015 was over 10 years ago, and nowadays, everything from external drives to gaming headsets to office monitors can be found with a USB-C connection. Another nitpick. While Touch ID is featured very prominently in the marketing for the device, it's actually not supported on the base configuration. It only comes on the 512 gig model that costs $100 extra. Also, the keyboard lacks a backlight, which is some pretty strong 2010 vibes on what is otherwise such a modern looking machine. With that said, this thing can be had for as little as $500 with an education discount, and if this Redditor's comment is anything to go by, Apple's strong buyback program, not to mention their support services, are going to have even public school districts looking very closely at these machines compared to Chromebooks. So well played, Mr. Cook, or should I call you Mr. Anderson? No, I shouldn't, because you've got a lot more than the one laptop today. Let's dive into the other new MacBooks and the M silicon chips that are at their hearts. Now, it's no secret that macOS and I have had our differences of opinion, but I'm a huge fan of what Apple has done with Apple Silicon, and the M5 Pro and the M5 Max mean that ain't gonna be changing anytime soon. I talked a fair bit in our launch coverage of Intel's Panther Lake CPUs about the importance of multi-die chip designs going forward. This approach can help with everything from enabling advanced features with third-party IP to reducing cost to creating a richer, more modular product stack that better serves your customers. And Apple's version of this, called their Fusion architecture, looks set to deliver very nicely on all of those benefits. The Pro and the Max configurations both come with a new neural processor and a nice little upgrade to peak unified memory throughput and GPU performance, and both of them now have 18 CPU cores. That is a 4 and 2 core improvement over last gen respectively. This, combined with Apple's claims that these are the fastest cores in the world, should mean that Apple's only obstacle to selling these things by the truckload is how good their previous generation M-series silicon already was. Seriously, Apple even tacitly acknowledges how few Apple Silicon owners are going to be upgrading by emphasizing just how much better the battery life will be compared to your Intel CPU MacBook. Though, honestly, I think they're being a little unfair to themselves. If you're a heavy network user, for instance, like if you edit video over a NAS, the Wi-Fi 7 capability of Apple's new N1 networking chip could be a game changer for you. And it comes with Bluetooth 6 as a nice little cherry on top. And there have been numerous other nice little quality of life improvements as their M silicon has evolved. Like the first gen was limited to HDMI 2.0. Anything newer does HDMI 2.1. And the M4 series was the first to get Thunderbolt 5 with its whomping up to 120 gigabit per second bandwidth boost mode. Though it is worth noting that on both M4 and M5, the base non-Pro Max Ultra chips are still limited to Thunderbolt 4. Now, a major question in all of this is, of course, pricing. But I am pleased to say that even amidst a RAM-pocalypse that is wreaking havoc on affordability for PC users, Apple has managed to mostly hold the line. They did eliminate some entry-level models in their MacBook Pro lineup, like the 512 gig version of the M5 Pro model. But if I'm being honest, guys, all told, it could have been a lot worse. And if nothing changes in the AI data center boom, next year it might be worse. It's very possible that Apple was only able to do this thanks to their long roadmap and the large-scale purchasing commitments that they make. We'll have to see how it goes. The last new MacBook is probably the least exciting to me. The M5 MacBook Air is $100 more now, but it comes with double the starting storage, a faster SSD, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and of course, better performance, which again, most Apple Silicon users don't need that much, so it seems like Apple's most compelling sales pitch for it seems to center around being allowed to upgrade it with more RAM and more storage compared to the Neo. But hey, when you're up against an absolute show stealer like that, I guess it's okay not to look that good. Well, at least the Neo stole the show so far. I haven't even talked about the new displays yet. At first, I was like, Apple's non-Pro displays have always been kind of unexciting, but not this time. The new Studio Display XDR frankly kicks the absolute crap out of its Pro older brother. Sure, they lowered the resolution, and it is a little smaller. But because it's smaller, and we're still talking 5K resolution, it's actually got nearly the same eye-watering pixel density of over 210 pixels per inch. This thing is gonna be sharp, but it won't cut your wallet. At least not as much, coming in at around $1,700 less than the old Pro Display XDR. Also, it's finally a mini LED panel for the desktop that can do 120 Hz with adaptive sync variable refresh rate. But wait, there's more. Did I even mention yet? It's got over 2,300 dimming zones. It'll hit 1,000 nits brightness in SDR and can manage 2,000 nits peak in HDR. And the I/O, ladies and gentlemen, we're going from a single Thunderbolt 3 port with 96 watts of charging and 3 USB-C ports running at USB 2.0 speeds to not one Thunderbolt 5 port with 140 watts of charging, but how about second Thunderbolt 5 port, albeit without charging. And okay, we're only getting 2 USB-C downlinks, but this time they're running at 10 gigabit per second. That is plenty. And on top of the physical changes, we're also getting support for 16 reference modes. So color correctionists and radiologists using DICOM rejoice, along with access to the Adobe RGB color gamut and the same 12 megapixel center stage plus desk view camera from the Studio Display, along with 6 surround speakers with allegedly improved bass and the 3 mic array that is standard in the Studio Display already. Now, I know I already mentioned it's significantly cheaper than the old Pro Display, but did I mention that the stand is cheaper too? Sure, the whole package is still pretty pricey, but I still say, write about today in your journal anyway, because I doubt that Apple is ever gonna give us such a big upgrade along such a massive price cut again. As for the non-XDR model, it's a little less compelling. It comes in at the same $1,600 you were paying before, but now with similarly upgraded Thunderbolt and USB-C ports, albeit with slower charging speeds, and we get the desk view upgrade for the 12 megapixel center stage camera. I would have really liked to see at least 120 Hz on a display that costs over $1,000 in 2026, but hey, it's 5K resolution and not everybody wants that, so I'm just gonna say I'm jazzed enough about the new XDR that I'm willing to forgive them on this one since they didn't raise the price. On that subject, it looks like the lowercase e iPhone naming scheme is here to stay because Apple also announced the new iPhone 17e this week. Just like last time, it's a couple $100 cheaper than a regular 17, and just like last time, you do lose out on some great features like Pro Motion technology and the new center stage front camera with all that it has to offer. However, in terms of upgrades over the 16e, you are now getting MagSafe wireless charging, that one's huge. You get Ceramic Shield 2 glass, which is amazing by the way, and you get Apple's A19 chip with the improved C1X modem. Oh, and I haven't even told you guys the best part. You know there's that massive DRAM and storage crisis happening right now? Well, somehow, the 17e comes with double the storage at the same $599 price. Dare I say, you'll love to see it? What happened to you, Apple? You used to so shamelessly charge us more for less. Now you're kind of cool. And the same goes for the iPad Air. I mean, Apple could have just slapped an M4 chip onto it and called it a day. They've certainly done it before. But instead, it's also getting the new C1X modem and N1 wireless chips, along with more memory, 12 gigs instead of 8. I mean, in typical Apple fashion, their messaging about this change makes it sound more magical than it is. A 50% jump in unified memory. Thanks, marketing department. But man, at the same price, I'll take it. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I mean, to be clear, not if you're coming from like an M3 iPad Air. You have enough RAM and that's a new enough device. But if you're coming from an older iPad, this new one looks significantly faster, and of course, we'll get the latest software updates for longer. Oh, it has better AI as well. I kind of glossed over that in some of the earlier stuff, but pretty much everything has better neural processing than ever before. And to Apple's credit, they try to keep a fair bit of that on device, so kudos there. But for me, the AI is less of a focus, and the big one is the value. Truly, bravo, Apple. I don't know why. I mean, the Mac Mini already exists, but I didn't think they had it in them. In these dark times of horrible tech affordability, who saw this coming? Apple, as a beacon in the dark. And now I can see another beacon. To our sponsor,
Squarespace. We've worked with Squarespace for many years, and we have even used them for our Linus Media Group site. And that's because Squarespace is the all-in-one website building platform. The beauty of Squarespace is the simplicity of it all. You can use their design intelligence tool to tell it your business name, the mood or vibe you'd like your site to give off, and you'll have a starting template within minutes. And from there, it's just some small tweaks using a drag and drop interface. There's millions of domain names out there that are just waiting to be snagged, and Squarespace will help you lock in yours. It all comes with privacy and security features too. Start building your website today and receive 10% off your first purchase by visiting squarespace.com/LTT.
if you guys enjoyed this video, why not check out the time I went shopping for a Mac? There's some very good value stuff in their lineup on the desktop side as well. Okay, spoiler, it's the Mac Mini.